everybody. Welcome to Build. I'm your host, Brittany Jones-Cooper, and today I'm chatting with Kristen Bell. Fresh off the emotional finale of The Good Place, Bell is here to talk about some of her upcoming projects and celebrating a year of her company, Hello Bello, which provides plant-based and affordable products that keep babies, parents, and the planet in mind. Welcome, Kristen Bell.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, how are you doing today?
I'm great. I'm a little jet lagged, but I'm great.
You know, it sounds like you had a really nice trip, though.
I had a wonderful, wonderful trip. I got back from Vienna yesterday, and I spoke at a global women's conference there because I'm the global advocate for the Women's Peace and Humanitarian Fund. Yeah. And it was very, very cool meeting women from all around the world who are doing like real work, like if I'm being honest, like the real work, you know?
Yes. That's so impressive. And we have to note that we are in your old stomping grounds a little bit. You went to NYU, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right?
Yes. I love this city so much.
When you come back to this part of town, does it like bring up memories?
Big time. Oh, I want to go to all the spots I went to at like 11:30 after I saw a show and got tickets at TKTS. Yes. Yeah.
Now it's like 11:30. I'm in bed.
Oh, 100%.
Hardcore. Hardcore. So we have a lot to talk about. You have so much going on. But I want to start with Hello Bello because you guys are celebrating a year, right?
Yeah. Our
It's your
baby's turning a year.
So put it together for that. It's such a feat, I think, to start a business, and especially one that you're so passionate about. So just take me through this last year, what it's been like to get something that you're so passionate about off the ground.
Well, I mean, the whole idea came out of the fact that my husband and I grew up very much on a budget when we were living in Michigan. And then it occurred to us, we're not really on a budget anymore. We can walk into like an LA boutique and pick out a fancy baby product that we know is great for everyone. And isn't that unfair? Like that was not lost on us. And there's a lot of people doing great work in the baby space, but we were like, we want accessibility for our friends in Michigan and affordability so that no one has to choose between their baby and their budget. And then as storytellers, well, we had this idea and we found people that were smarter than us who knew how to do it. But as storytellers, we were like, okay, so how do you say who you are on this bottle? Like, how do you put yourself into this? And we were like, okay. And we had all these brainstorming sessions of like, maybe the label's in a different shape. Maybe it's vertical, not horizontal, because that's funny and it's weirder and it's irreverent and we wanted to be cute and we wanted to have the ring of my name and we didn't want the bottle to feel like it was going to be this pristine thing by your bathtub or in your nursery. We wanted it to be like funny and have shapes all over it and put the word booger on the wipes and the word butt on the, because that's what it's for. Yes. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do we bring our sense of comedy? And it's been very interesting. We surrounded ourselves with a lot of people that were way smarter than us and taught us about economy of scale and how we get the price point that we needed. Because we like to say well, they're all premium ingredients, but it's your mom's ingredients at your dad's prices. I like that. Which is true because I chose the ingredients and Dak chose the price.
And everything's plant-based.
Yes.
So help me out with like what that means as far as, is that organic? How do you guys sort of determine how to label it correctly?
Some is. Well, we just did the best we could while maintaining the market void that we wanted to hit. Like we wanted accessibility. So it was very, a lot of people when they're starting a business struggle with like distribution. And we were like, oh, if we really want to sell this for the price we want to sell it, not have it be a $15 bottle, to reach the people we need a big partner. So Walmart was very helpful in the beginning because going into all of their stores created an economy of scale where we were able to really not just get the accessibility, but get the price point down. And that was what we mainly wanted to hit. And then we looked for every step of the way, try to figure out how to do it a little bit better. Like the interior of the diapers. Diapers can be really wasteful, but not. I tried to do cloth diapers, and I'm going to tell you, giant fail. I did it for about 2 months, and I was like, oh, this is my full-time job. It's not realistic for everybody. So we were like, let's figure out how the sap in the diaper can be more absorbent so that we can use less of it, so that it is better for the environment. Let's make sure we're sourcing those from North American trees. Let's make sure that every process, every place that it goes to is being incredibly responsible. Let's make sure we visit the factories. Let's make sure we're paying everybody a responsible wage. And we just tried to leverage our morals and values because we were the ones having to speak about it. Because the blunt truth is, I was able to go like, I don't need an extra paycheck. I just don't. I'm already overpaid. So if we're going to do this, it's going to be for the right reasons, and we're going to do it the right way. And if I have to talk about it, I need to be proud of it. So I better not find out along the way that we've been doing anything shady.
Well, that's got to be a fear, right? That's why you have to be involved, because you hear of so many times people just kind of putting their name on something and then unfortunate things happen, and you don't want that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, it's not necessarily, who knows whose fault it is. Like, businesses make mistakes, and we've certainly learned things, but I'm very involved, my husband's very involved, and our reality is that we have to speak to this. We do use this stuff on our kids. Our kids were the guinea pigs. We made them use everything. I was like, touch this cream, but does it feel like it's out of your hair? Did it really get all the hairspray out of your hair? Because yes, my 6-year-olds use a lot of hairspray.
The higher the hair, the closer to God.
No, hers is to slick it.
Oh.
She can't stand volume, and so she slicks it with a really, really strong hairspray. And I'm like, yeesh, but she loves it, and that is what matters.
Hey, you just got to feel confident in your look. That's all that matters.
That's right.
You're saying we, so you co-founded this company with your husband, Dax Shepard. You guys have worked together on screen. You're obviously married and raising a family together. What was it like going into business together?
Look at that baby filled with pudding.
Oh, that baby is
That's such a pudding baby.
so puffy.
What was it like going into business together?
Yeah.
Well, he wrote a movie that we did together called Hit and Run, which was sort of about the first year of our relationship, except it was a car chase movie because he wrote it. I love working with him. We are polar opposites. I think anyone who knows anything about us knows that, and that's our reality. We disagree on 99.9% of the things on the planet. He's very practical. He's a bit of a pessimist. I'm an idealist, and I'm an optimist. But it's that middle ground that's the sweet spot, right? We disagree genuinely on everything, but we talk it out to where we both get what we need, and it's always the line we have to ride. It's always the line that we have to ride. And it's also, we don't just do this alone. We have, we started this company with 2 other people who are much smarter than we are. And there's 15 or so people that work with us that manage 200 SKUs. That's a lot of SKUs, because as this company has grown and turned a year, we've morphed it into more a kids company. We're like, oh, well, we're storytellers. How do we narrate this more adult? Okay, let's have a birthday scent come out on our year anniversary. Wouldn't that be cool? So we have scents, or let's have a kids line because we're turning a year. What are the other holes in the market? And I was like, my kids don't ever want to take their vitamins. They don't like the chalky taste of it. So we're like, what about vitamins? And now we have a prenatal, we have a women's, we have a men, we have a melatonin, we have a kids, and my kids love it because they taste like gummy bears, but they're vegan. Everything about it is Dax and I coming to a middle ground and then taking it to the people smarter than us and saying, not can we do this, but how do we do this?
And you guys have so many products. You mentioned the diapers seem to be a real focus for you, though, which I love. And the designs
you
put
get to
on
pick
them,
the patterns.
Right? I was going to say, I've never thought about how boring diapers are until I saw one with a sloth on it or bacon and eggs.
Yeah, or poop emojis.
Right?
What's a funnier bit than that?
Yes.
And the sloths
come on. Also, this baby is
my
also
favorite.
very chunky.
The babies that we have for these photo shoots, they just kill me because it's, all you want to do is just touch their sweet little backs and squeeze their pudding thighs. The diapers are really fun. These are obviously for Dax. This is one of his motorcycles. We also, the person who, Ben Hart, who designs the diapers for us and does the marketing, is one of our closest friends. So what works for us as a business is working with our friends. Because for me, I would rather help you learn a skill set and hire you because I know that your moral compass is aligned with mine. That to me is the most important thing, that you're not gonna make a weird decision. So we hired Ben, who happens to have both. I know his moral compass because he's one of our dearest friends, but he also is a crazy good designer, and he drew all of these little icons that are on the bottles.
I love the emphasis on diapers too, and I know to celebrate, you're giving away diapers to some mothers out there, which is, I think people forget how expensive diapers are, how sometimes it's hard to get them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a representative for Baby to Baby in Los Angeles and Good Plus out here, which, people don't realize there's, a substantial portion of America that wrings out the diapers and uses them again. That's just a fact. Not to be a downer, but that's just a reality. A lot of people have to choose. And we were like, no. How do we create something that helps fix that problem that's less of a Band-Aid and more of a solution? So having a lower priced option that has premium ingredients where you're not putting like a bunch of asbestos on your kid. Yeah, it just it makes you feel good. We've given away in our first year, also because I get to control a lot of the give backs, because they can't say no. Because I'm like, well, I want to talk about something good today, and it's my face, so just do it. We've given away 1 million diapers to over 70, in our first year only, over 70 different organizations. And for our year anniversary, this one I didn't know if they'd agree to, but they did. We are giving away a full pack, which is 35, a full one of these, to new and expectant parents in all across North America, from Hello Bello as basically our 1 year anniversary gift to you. So you pay like $1 in shipping. You can sign up at hellobello.com and you can get a whole week on us because it was important to be a part of the parenting journey because it's so weird and gross and messy and wonderful that it's like, you know what, I'm going to save you a couple bucks. Like, congrats on having your kid. Here, it's not a sample. It's going to be a real pack of diapers.
Does that make you feel like Oprah a little bit, though? You're like, everybody gets diapers.
Are we just all working to feel like Oprah more and more each day?
Kristen, like
100%.
All I ever want.
It's the only thing to do.
How much has being a mom impacted just how you choose projects? Because obviously we have this amazing company that you launched after having your girls, and it seems like a lot of your creative projects too have a tone of just being aware of what kids need and want, or like how mothers feel.
That has been a bit of a fluke, I will say, because when I first had my kid, look, I got accidentally pregnant twice when I was on House of Lies. And I was like, my character was not supposed to be pregnant, you guys. And House of Lies is very much not a kid-friendly show, but I wasn't like eager to get off of it. Partially because I think I have an evolved enough perspective of myself that I don't want my kids to think that you need to change completely when you have a baby. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm still a woman, a modern woman, and my role on House of Lies was like maybe more sexualized than I would want them to see at 5 and 6 years old. But when they're 15 or 18 or 20 and they want to watch it, like, great. I hope they're as proud of it as I am. I fell into Frozen and a lot of the VO work that I do, which happens to be cartoons, after I had kids. And I guess what that did is or like Bad Moms, it allowed me to really enjoy the project because I was going through those same things of like being like, my kids are awesome and weird and gross and get me away from them. So yeah, I was simultaneously experiencing that, but I fell into the rest of it. But what it does do is, as not just a voiceover artist, but when I'm producing, it gives me a good sense of, I have a kid at home. I know what she's taking from that show. I know what she's missing. Here's how we can simplify it. Here's how we're talking down to her, make it more complicated. Like, I have those perspectives to share because I watch My Little Idiots.
I don't have children, but I have watched so many episodes of your web series, Momsplaining, because I feel like
you have and you don't have kids?
So many episodes.
Thanks.
Because I have lots of nieces and nephews, and I know what monsters they are. And I just love...
Yeah, they could be real
They're
rough.
just monsters, and I love them so much. But I just love the honest approach, you know, because I think in this era of parenting, like whatever parenting means, there's like so many ways to feel like you're doing it wrong.
Well, you always feel like you're doing it wrong, like every day of every moment of every day. But it's like, we as humans, we somehow like made this subconscious agreement to like only show the good parts of ourselves. And I'm like making it my mission to say, no, we can talk about the bad. We can talk about the fact that I have anxiety and depression and it's pretty serious. We can talk about the fact that sometimes I want to get away from my kids because they're gross and they smell like urine. And so, you know what I mean? Like, you got to talk about the realistic stuff as well. And it doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person, a multidimensional, complex human being. That's what we were trying to do with Momsplaining, is go like, I was saying everything that's happening to me is so funny. It's so funny. Like when your kids first start swearing, and I remember my 2.5-year-old was sitting on the toilet, and you know their butt cheeks are like this big, but the toilet's like this big, and she was sitting on the toilet, and you're supposed to not make a big deal of when they swear, and she's sitting on the toilet, and I'm on the floor, and she goes, and she slips, she goes, oh shit. And I was just like, it's hilarious. She was literally like...
She used it appropriately.
She nailed it. She nailed it.
Yeah.
But it's like all that stuff. What the hell are you supposed to do when your kid starts swearing? What are you supposed to do? Like, let's just put a funny lens on it and talk about how complicated it is to be human.
Absolutely. And one project that you have coming out is a book called The World Needs More Purple People.
Yes,
and I read the
I'm
premise
not
for it.
illiterate.
And again, it just feels so like, oh, yeah, that's what we need right now.
Yeah, that came out of an idea with Benjamin Hart, by the way, who I can't possibly give enough credit to as my friend or my business partner. So we were talking about, this was his idea, the name, and he's like, you know what? The world just needs more purple people. I'll let you deduce what that means. But we were talking about the fact that our kids, even subconsciously, continually absorb all this divisiveness. They hear us at the dinner table talking about, well, you believe this. Oh, well, I believe this. And it's always about differences. And like, newsflash, we're so much more alike than we are different. Like, regardless of what we all think, we all need oxygen, we all need food, we all need water, we all like want people to be nice to us and be accepted. So we said, what are like the 5 pillars that everyone agrees on? Let's put that into a book, kind of a manual, and tell kids how we are similar.
Yeah. I love it. And that like ties so perfectly into The Good Place. Oh, guys, just a little exhale moment.
Sorry, it's a real tearjerker.
You guys just really did that to me, and it was great. But again, that show, I think the reason people loved it is it showed just how alike we are, and we're all on this ride together.
And that you can try to be solo, but it's probably not going to be as fun or as worth it. And so like that was the whole road of my character. She came into this world being so selfish on her own, and she had to be, because they went into her backstory about how hurt she was by her parents. But through forming human connection and investment in other people and bonds, she realized what was worth living or dying for.
Is it weird to have been on a show that solved life's biggest questions? Because I really think that this is now what the afterlife is.
It feels appropriate.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah, it does
really
feels pretty good. It feels pretty good. Because I gotta say that I do. This is what happens when you die. Like this is absolutely what happens when you die. It's all a video game. We get points. I'm totally in agreement with Mike Schur about that.
Have you had anybody come up to you and say that? Like, I really think this is what happens now?
No one's joined our cult yet.
Oh, I think I'm...
Okay, great.
Can I drink,
the
Kool-Aid?
Okay, great. I love it. Because that's where it came out of Mike Schur, our creator. He's like sits in traffic, and in his head, life is a video game, and if like someone cuts someone else off, he'll go, well, -10 points. That's where the idea came from.
And so you've obviously you guys stopped taping months ago, and the show's been wrapped for a few weeks. Have you had time to really process the ending of it?
Yeah, I got really depressed in the fall, I'm not gonna lie. And I think I was like trying to attribute it to all these other things. And if I were to look back on it, I realize it was a really deep sadness of going to be apart from this group and be a part of a project that I felt made such a statement that I believed in. Yeah.
And you've played all of these very defined characters, if I think back in your career. Is there one that you miss the most?
I think currently I miss Eleanor Shellstrop because it's the rawest. It's the most open wound.
Also, she was just such a like dirtbag and so
the
fun.
best. The best. Who asks someone else if they want to eat their farts? Like, who has the audacity? I'll always miss Veronica Mars. I think the Veronica Mars taught me who I am. Like, I had never really done comedy before that, and then they were writing me all these sassy one-liners that I was like somehow vaguely pulling off, and I was like, God, it feels good to fight for the underdog. And I'm like, maybe this is my thing. Maybe I'm like gonna try to be a woman who's sassy and smart and fights for the underdog. So I feel like that was like therapy to me of like who I wanted to become.
I was gonna say, usually people ask like what character is most like you, but that's sort of like the character that you would want to be most like, maybe?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Or at least want to be my best friend.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of us feel that way. And then you also do an incredible amount of voice work, which before we go to audience questions, I'm tired looking at your schedule.
But can I tell you something? I go in my pajamas.
Oh, that's true.
So like, doesn't matter.
But you're lending your voice to 2 new things, right?
Yeah.
So you have Central Park.
Central Park, which created by Josh Gad, my very good buddy, and Lauren Bouchard, who did Bob's Burgers, which is a very funny musical about Central Park. And it's this group of people that I just love so much that it's Catherine Hahn, Stanley Tucci, Daveed Diggs, Josh, and Leslie Odom Jr. and Titus Burgess. So it's like, hello, sing alongside those people, yeah. And then also, two friends of mine had an idea for a kids music education show that we took out that will come out on Amazon in December called Do Re Mi, about three little songbirds, because we felt like music education really is being slashed everywhere.
Well, it is.
And it's the reason I'm sitting here today was because I fell in love with music and singing, and then I found theater. So I would not physically be in this chair if it weren't for falling in love with music. So it comes out on Amazon in the fall, in December, and it's exactly what I want my kids to watch because it teaches music theory, diversity in music, and every episode has like a different musical theme. Like it has like music from different countries, and each one is actually like an awesome like Taylor Swift hook because my friends are writing it, not like bad kids music.
Right. So do you voice just one of the birds?
I voice me. The bird named Me, because they're called Do, Re, and Mi.
Okay,
So I voice
so
one
you're
bird.
me, or
I'm me.
you?
And this is why it's funny. There's built-in jokes, you guys. Yeah.
And then, like, can you give us, like, what does a bird sound like? Or how do you channel that in you?
She sounds like way more like this. Like it's annoying. A little bit when you hear it out of context, but in the context of the show. And Jackie Tone, who's one of my best friends of all time, who's on Glow, she plays Melrose on Glow. She's the one that created it, is writing the music, and she plays Ray on it. And so we get to work together, which is awesome, and we get to sing together.
Yeah. And I would imagine doing a lot of voice work allows you more time to be at home too, which I know is probably important to you after wrapping up The Good Place.
Yeah, absolutely. It gives me the opportunity to record at times that aren't midnight, because sometimes if you're shooting a show and we have a night shot, I have to shoot at midnight, and like that's not comfortable for my kids. So I can record between the hours of 10 and 3, and then I still get to take them to school every morning and pick them up every afternoon. Yeah.
Well, I could talk to you for another half hour about all of the stuff that you're doing, but we do have a lot of questions from the audience, so I want to get to those. The first one comes from Twitter. Adoris Bell, that's really on brand, asks, out of the characters you've played, which one do you look up to the most? We sort of just...
I thought this said look like the most, and I was like, is this a real question?
You're like, I look the most like me.
Out of the characters you played, which one do you look up to the most? Anna. Because she just unapologetically is who she is. And I was lucky enough to have a hand in shaping who that character was with our writer, Jen Lee, and really was able to give we wrote lines together, we improv together, and really found it because I told her I was just desperate to have that be a love letter to who I was as an 11-year-old, which was like a really weird kid. Someone who I was really clumsy and I talked too much and I wore my heart on my sleeve and I cried if I stepped on an ant and things that were real to me, but other people might be like, that girl's a weirdo. And I was like, that girl's not represented enough. Right. And I want...
Now that girl's a queen.
What?
So... Well done.
Thanks.
The next question, Lexa Trexa, you have played so many great roles in terms of social justice and representation. How does your passion for social justice influence what roles you choose to play?
Well, it tries to. But the reality is sometimes the scripts you get are the scripts you get. And I am desperate for roles that have more complexity, more representation, and across the board. I mean, one of the things I absolutely loved about The Good Place is my reality is I can't play anything other than this. So I can represent this, but I can represent this in a world that's the world representative of what I want to see. You know what I mean? So on The Good Place, you see a lot of South Asian represented and a lot of different colors and races in the background because Mike created even the extras to be what Earth would look like if it were in the afterlife. So you don't just see a bunch of white people because newsflash, that's not what heaven looks like. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of different colors in the world, and he wanted it to be even how do you say it, percentage-wise represented. So you look at the background work on our show, and that's why you see so many different colors even in the main cast. So sometimes I stumble, luckily, into a project where someone wants representation, but the ones that I can choose are really roles where I feel like the woman is not pigeonholed, where there's a sort of complexity or duplicity, I guess, like bad moms. We're moms, they're good people, but it's okay to be like, I need to get away from my kids. Or Sarah Marshall, who's the villain, but also I had a ton of sympathy for her because, yes, she's a narcissist, but she also was like a girl who was really struggling and she wasn't trying to be mean. So looking for people that are both yin and yang is something I strive for.
And you as an actor, too, I feel like that drama comedic thing you like to sort of play with as well.
Oh, yeah, that's the most fun to go in and out of it, yeah.
So is there a role or a genre that you would really look forward to kind of tackling with that said?
Well, what I'm looking forward most to is what I want my career-ending role to be is to develop when I am 80 years old a musical version of Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. But like a really, really dark comedy. You know what I mean?
I'm down.
That feels good to me.
That feels good to all of us, I think. Who's got our first one? Evan in the audience?
Right over here. Hey, Kristen, my name's Evan. Thank you
Hi,
for
Evan.
coming. My question to you is, obviously the organic lifestyle and the plant-based lifestyle is more socially and culturally acceptable now, but there are some people that are apprehensive still. What is your message to families because of your product that uses plant-based and organic to kind of adopt that mentality and use it on their children and feel safe?
Well, first of all, I would say nobody needs to be perfect. Nobody, nobody, nobody. Just think about it. The reason that people do plant-based or veer towards organic is because we're just trying to be kinder to the planet around us. Doesn't matter if you believe doomsday's coming or not. Like, just generally, there are certain things we can agree on, like what we talk about in Purple People. If there's trash on the ground, put it in the trash can. You can't argue against that. Don't put it in the trash can. You know what I mean? So, like, doing things that are just kinder to the planet seems reasonable. But if for you that's just Meatless Mondays, or for you that's just, choosing one product that's maybe has a paper packaging instead of a plastic, or is a little bit more organic or a little bit more plant-based, whatever you can do. Like, I try to do things around my house all the time, and I fail massively. It does not have to be perfect. And you don't have to talk to anybody who tells you you need to switch to being vegan right now and use only plant-based. You just have to try. I tried to put my whole family on bamboo toothbrushes. I use them. My husband's not into it. He'll get there. Why? Because I do the shopping. But neither here nor there. He'll warm up to it. So I say you don't have to be perfect today. Just try, because you're not living on this planet by yourself.
I was vegetarian for 19 years, and in school I was made fun of. They're like, why aren't you eating meat? But honestly, with the messages like you're putting out there, I think it's a little bit more acceptable. So thank you again. I wish you the best.
Absolutely.
A lot of things are changing in the culture. Even I think the awareness of what's in our products, people just care more now.
Yeah, my God, look at the label, look at the label, look at the label.
Exactly.
Always.
It's insane. Like, I all of a sudden had like all these allergies and I pulled out a lot of stuff and I was like, oh, my skin feels better. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Where's Allie?
Hi.
Hi, Allie.
So, in between recording for Frozen 1 and Frozen 2, you became a mom to 2 daughters yourself. How did that influence how you portrayed Anna's journey?
Wow. Well, I actually had my oldest daughter in my belly during Love is an Open Door. It was one of the last songs we recorded. Like, the movie was mostly done, and she was in there, and she made it a miserable singing experience because you sing from your diaphragm, and she was like, oh, this feels nice. I'm going to just get all over your diaphragm. So it was hard to sing that song. But I think I paid more attention in the second movie to the sisterly bond because I had 2 girls, and I particularly paid attention to the nuggets that I could pull out later and say to them, well, what would else to say to Anna here? You know?
I've read that they're not really impressed by the fact that you're in Frozen, though.
They could care less. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing. I think it's in your DNA to reject your parents, though, right? Like, you're not supposed to think what your parents do is cool, and they don't. So, what are you going to do?
They enjoy singing the songs with you.
They enjoy singing the songs.
Oh, just...
Me singing at home is not an option. Can you believe that?
I cannot believe that.
I'm like, sometimes I look at them, I'm like, do you know how much someone would pay for me to come sing happy birthday at their birthday party. And they're like, ew, get away from me. Like, they don't want me to sing at all.
You're like, I have the voice of an angel.
I'm just like, guys, I do this for a living. Don't you want to hear it? And they're like, no, go do it at work. They're so brutal.
Go to work, Mom.
They're so brutal.
Where's Andres?
Hi.
Hi.
So you've already gotten a lot of questions about the roles you've played, but I wanted to ask, which one would you say was the most fun to play?
Oh, Eleanor Shellstrop, without a doubt.
That's what I wanted to hear.
100%. Because I'm a person that's pretty severely codependent, and I fight against it every day. It's the reason Anna had that song in the end of the movie, Do the Next Right Thing, because I really don't know what to do when other people aren't around. And that's what we wanted to represent for her in a lot of different ways. But there is something so liberating about just being incredibly selfish, because Eleanor wasn't malicious, right? She didn't desire to hurt anyone around her. She just didn't give a fuck. And it's so liberating to just think about yourself. Like, it doesn't feel super comfortable by the end of the day. Like, I could never take that behavior home. But the way she'll clap back at you instantly, it feels like a lot of fun, like a little dangerous.
But I have to say, I would sometimes watch her and be like, yeah, I do that. And sometimes it feels good, but then you're like, I shouldn't do it too much.
Not too much, but look at her. She ended up with the love of her life and a wonderful ever after for 1 billion Baramies. Yeah. She didn't do so bad.
On that note, what's your feeling about soulmates? I mean, this show gave us a lot to think about. It's like, do they exist, or is it just like you finding somebody you vibe with and making it work?
I think you hit the nail on the head with the last sentence. I think it's who you choose to make it work with. I don't think you could ever find your soulmate if you weren't ready. And I don't know if I think soulmates exist. I think a commitment to being ready to earn someone exists. And if I had met my husband 5 years earlier, no way, guys, no way. We'd be a tabloid headline. But we met each other at the time when we were both evolving into a place where it was like, okay, what are the outcomes I want in my life? I want to have a stable family. I want to have kindness when I put my head on my pillow. I want someone who's going to be there for me. Okay, how do I get that? Oh, I guess I've got to show up too. Oh, I guess that's reciprocated. And I think you have to go through your own personal evolution to get there. So I don't necessarily buy, and with the relationship I have with my husband, I'm very hesitant to say, you just need to find your perfect match. I think that's baloney. I think you need to be ready to earn your perfect match. And that's how it works. At least that's the way we make it work, so that's certainly all I can speak to. Yeah.
I think that's really good advice, because I think you just have to do all that work on yourself first, or it's never going to work.
Yeah, and you can do it while you're with the other person too, but because we certainly do work on ourselves all the time, but if we had met each other at different times in our life, it never would have worked.
Well, Chidi and Eleanor sort of made me believe in soulmates. Just
well, okay.
I know.
Okay.
Just saying. Yeah. Where's Michael?
Eleanor, I'm not that Michael.
Take it sleazy, Michael.
Okay. For years, I've been waiting to say thank you very much, because when I first really got interested in you as an actress, your acting saved my life, actually. I was homeless. My family destroyed my whole life and left me homeless and everything. And I had a small TV I used to watch Heroes on. And every time, when I got my first apartment back, after that, they wanted my apartment. They wanted me to give them the apartment and just move out of everything. And at that time, I saw Elle. And Elle had a thing where she said she burned down the whole house and killed everybody. And I looked at that and I was like, wow, you know what? I am in a bad place. If I'm thinking about having revenge on people for the things that they do to me, I have to just go on with my life. Because the way Elle died and everything, she turned from a dark person to someone of light, and it made me think. It's almost like the Eleanor character.
Yeah.
And that made me feel better about myself. So I've been for years, I just want to say thank you. And are you going to do any dark characters like that again?
First of all, hold on, Michael. I really want to give you a hug.
No, thank you very much. Oh, and this is my debit card.
Oh,
So
his
empty.
debit card has Anna and Elsa on it. I thought you were giving her the debit card. I'm like,
no.
she already told us she has enough money, Michael.
First of all, thank you, Michael, because that's something that I believe in so wholeheartedly is being vulnerable. And like you were just vulnerable with us. And thank you for feeling comfortable and confident and having enough self-esteem to share those things, because that's awesome and that's an example for me and everyone in this room. Oh gosh, what was the question? I'm so thrilled because that's the whole reason I became a storyteller, is you want your choices in projects, whether it's in this or whether it's in acting, to like positively affect the earth, you know? And I just thank you for, what was the question?
Any more dark characters?
Oh, hell yeah. They're the most, through doing Sarah Marshall, one thing that I learned was I really gravitate towards people that are inherently unlikable on the page, and figure out how to get you to root for them. Because I don't think anyone is beyond forgiveness or repair. I mean, maybe you can give me like 2 examples, but like for the most part, I'd like to just blanket it in. Everyone can move forward. Everyone can get better.
I apologize, but did you make her light, or did the writers do that?
The writers did. The writers did, but I knew what her whole storyline would be, and I gravitate towards characters that you just think are going to be the villain, like Sarah Marshall or Elle or Eleanor, and then I'm like, no, maybe I can mathematically use my acting to put humanity in my eyes at the right times, where you can identify with what I'm doing. Or maybe I'm lucky enough, like on The Good Place, where they'll go into her backstory and tell you why she was bad, why she had bad behavior, which they didn't do in Sarah Marshall, but I really like those characters that are much more complex, because nobody is just one thing.
I love that, and I feel like you're a perfect example of that when you talk about vulnerability. Nobody is just one thing, and you're always kind of open about that, which is why I think we are all in this room today, and why this was such an amazing conversation, and why we continue to root for you. So thank you for sharing your afternoon with us. And if you guys want more information on Hello Bello products, visit hellobello.com. Put your hands together for Kristen Bell.